Hello everybody, this is Moo,
And this is Fuji.
and we just watched Cinderella!
And Cinderella is still one of my favorite Disney movies.
I like it a lot still.
It holds up really well for being made in, what year did this come out?
1950.
50.
Solid in
And
the 50s.
okay. And people have a lot of criticisms about the Disney princess movies, and I think about Cinderella in particular, and I think there's just a lot of things that people forget about this movie.
Yeah.
First of all, it did come out in 1950.
It sure did.
So, I mean, you have to think about it in the cultural context of when it came out. And a lot of people are all like, oh, Cinderella, she waited for a fairy godmother.
Didn't do anything.
All her little animal friends do everything for her in the movie. But the point of Cinderella is that she tries so hard to like people, to be a genuinely good person.
Mm-hmm. Plus it's her family.
It is her family, and it's hard. It's the only family she has. It's the only people who are around her, and it's really hard in her situation. And I think, okay, so addressing the thing. So we were talking about during the fairy godmother scene, when she arrives. At this point, you have seen Cinderella try so hard, and we caught some stuff that I had remembered, but
It's been a while.
Moo was learning. So at the very beginning, Cinderella has a conversation with Bruno, the dog, about Lucifer. And it's pretty clear that this is a parallel to Cinderella and her stepmother and stepsisters. And she says, you know what you do when you're in this sort of situation, you know, Bruno, like, really hating the cat and the cat being really antagonistic toward the dog. And she says, you know what you do? You learn to like cats.
Yeah.
And that's what
she says.
That's what she's been doing this whole time. She has been making herself like these terrible people because she doesn't have any other choice.
Right. It's really telling when she says that. I was like, oh dang, that just like spoke 30 different things about Cinderella as a character, that she wants to be. She's really nice. She's generally a nice,
genuinely
kind person. Nice. And she only does things because she's kind. She's kind to the animals because she doesn't like seeing them hurt.
And and the thing is, the animals don't help her until it comes time to make her dress.
Right.
She helps them the whole time. And so when it comes to, the animals making her dress for her, like, that's the first time that we see any evidence of them doing stuff for her. Everything else that's led up to the movie, she makes their clothes, she feeds them, you know, she treats all of them.
The bird's a sister in making her bed, but she didn't ask them to do it.
She never asks anyone to do anything.
No, she doesn't. Now that I think about it.
And so coming back to the one of the big points that everyone pulls up on is the fairy godmother sequence. And we were talking about it, and you know, there's some question of why does it take so long for the fairy godmother to come help her?
Right.
And I feel that it's shown that Cinderella does everything up to this point. Like, she has the ability to do things. And the fairy godmother only comes in when Cinderella has really hit her limit and she can't do anything else.
Right.
And I feel like it's the idea that she's been helping herself. And since she's helped herself so long, that she deserves this chance when someone comes along and helps her.
Right.
And I think there's nothing.
And she wouldn't have asked for help outside of it.
She didn't ask for help.
She wasn't going to. She's not that type of person, I think. Like, which
actually is different from, like, sort of the traditional Cinderella mythos, in which she does go and ask for help.
Yeah, does she? I don't know.
She asks the tree for help. The tree that was her mother's.
Oh, yeah, the mom tree.
Mom tree.
Which is later used in Pocahontas, funny enough. But sort of. But that's a different movie. And
I feel like that's why that scene feels so good when you're watching, is because she doesn't ask. Like, help comes to her. Because she's been able to help herself all this time.
Also, it is a little bit sad that she felt like she can't ask for help. So when you can't ask for help or rely on other people for help, which she probably learned when she was a kid after her dad died, is that you learn how to help yourself, because what else are you going to do? Like, there's nothing to do. She's in an abusive situation. Like, they're not going to...
Straight up and down, she is.
Yeah, if she's, like, sick, for example, like, no one's going to help her or take care of her or care, like, in her position. Like, she has to do it herself, and she knows that. And that is really sad that she has to do that, but it's how she is. Like, she wouldn't have asked for help otherwise, you know? Like, so, like, the fairy godmother coming down and says, no, I'm going to come here and help you, is, like, a big deal, because...
It's a huge deal.
Yeah, because, like, you know, someone came by and says, no, I will help you, you can have a chance to have a nice night, because she doesn't go to the ball to meet a prince.
She super doesn't,
Nope.
which I pointed out to Moo, and it was really funny when Moo heard the line.
I had no idea.
So, like, I mean,
oh
people forget, like, she did not go to the ball to meet the prince. She knew that the ball was being held for the prince, because that was in the letter.
Yeah.
But if you listen to her when she's leaving, and the prince is like, no, why do you have to go? And she's like, I need to go meet the prince. And Moo
that's one of her That's one of her excuses.
And Moo was like, "What?"
Well, she doesn't say. She doesn't say I'm gonna go meet the prince. She's like, "Oh, I bet the guy I was hanging out with. I bet the prince himself wasn't as charming."
Yeah,
is what she said afterwards.
Well, no, when she's actually leaving, when she's running away,
doesn't she say that?
Yeah. Well,
oh yeah.
When she's leaving, when he's being like, "No, you don't go. You know, you have to stay longer," and she's like, "No, I have to go. I need to go meet the prince.
Yeah.
I haven't met the prince yet."
Yeah, sweats. I gotta get out of here. Sorry, runs away. Yeah, she legit does not know the prince is the prince until later in the movie.
And I feel like that's the implication of why the prince likes her, is because she didn't go there to meet him.
No.
Like, everyone else went there to meet him, and there's, like, a lack of sincerity.
Yeah, they see him as just the prince, I guess is the idea.
And she's there because she genuinely just wants to hang out and attend a party and have a good time.
Yeah, for once in her life.
And so, I mean, she didn't go to the ball with any ulterior motives.
Nope, she sure didn't. She just came there like, oh man, I'm invited to this ball, it's gonna be pretty, I get to wear a nice dress, I get to eat some nice food for once, and I get to feel good about myself. Like, she didn't come there thinking that she was going to meet a prince.
She didn't. And I mean, it's driven home again. Like, if you do miss it, when later on when they get the letter saying that they're looking for the girl with the glass slipper because that's
the prince is looking for her.
The prince is looking for her. Then is when she realizes, and you see it because she drops her tray. And
she's so surprised she drops her tray because she's like, "What? I was dancing with the prince. I've fallen for the prince." No way.
And then the following sequence again is one that gets some criticism. Is when the stepmother locks her in her room and the animals come rescue her. And again, this is the first time that, like, the animals do something of, like, a huge amount of gravity to help her.
Oh yeah, they the Jock and Gus just go right for the
and she doesn't ask them.
No, she doesn't.
She does not ask them to do it.
I think even if she did ask them, they probably would have done it anyway. But she doesn't ask them. They just do it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even wait for it. They're just like, we're gonna go help her out because she's helped us out. And the same thing happens when Lucifer, near the end, he's got Gus underneath the cup, and all the mice just like go for it, and the birds are dropping plates on the cat because Cinderella's their friend and they want to help her, and this is a chance for her to get out of this really crappy situation, be with somebody that she really loves. And like, yeah, I think this part where they're like walking in the garden, they're saying, "So this is love." I think what the idea was, like, the animators had, or the people making this had, was that this would explain Cinderella and the princess relationship, and we don't need to do anything else. Where it would have been really nice if we could hear what they were talking about, because they were obviously talking to each other. It wasn't just because, ooh, love at first sight, but they were talking to each other, but they decided that would be all told musically, which I guess probably worked in the 50s, but not so much today.
And I think the reason why it doesn't work today is because this movie came out in the 50s, and
Sure
now
did.
everyone has seen it, and it's a cliche now.
Yep.
But it's like, at the time, I mean, you know, it is this, like, highly romantic idea of, like, love at first sight, and, you know, people didn't have that in these animated movies.
Yeah.
You know, this is like, I mean, there's Snow White, but this is different.
Snow White is different in a lot of different ways.
Very different. But I mean, this, I just feel like so much of the criticism that's lodged at it is stuff that we take for granted because we've grown up with this, and it's, you know, part of our popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ability that we have to look at these things and to question them, you know, it's because this thing came out so long ago.
Yeah, it's true. Also, I really do think Cinderella gets a bad rap because of that. I really like her as a character.
Like, it's just, you can't sum up this, you know, however long this movie is, you can't just sum that up easily into, like, a couple of words.
Mm-hmm.
Because it shows over and over and over again, like, how genuinely nice and hardworking she is.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, particularly in the 90s, so, you know, you and me absorbed a lot of media in the 90s.
Yep.
And I think there was almost this idea that strong female characters, you know, there were a lot of, like, action girls, there were a lot of, like, female characters taking on, like, non-traditionally feminine roles. And I think Cinderella, though, is an example of a really strong character who is very feminine.
Yeah, but it's mostly because there was, like, this movement that actually still kind of going on where people are like, feminine equals bad, which is actually a different kind of sexism if you think about it, because it's like feminine things equal not good or weak or not strong
Right.
or whatever. So that's why we have that idea, like, oh, if you have to have a good female character, she has to be like badass and tough and
no love interest.
no love interest,
I'm
nothing.
gonna punch it in the face.
Or punch everything in the face. Which, yeah, there are good female characters like that, but sometimes those things end up really shallow. Like, first comes to mind is actually Resident Evil, the movie series.
I haven't seen
with
those.
Alice. Like, she's a big old action girl and, like, you know, fights and all that cool shit. But, you know, is there very much to her character? Not really.
I mean, there's different types of strong female characters, and I just feel like
one type.
Cinderella is a really strong female character.
I actually do think that. Yeah, I think so
I
too.
mean, you know, in comparison to Snow White, like, she's definitely, you know, she's got more agency than Snow White. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And thinking about it, she actually doesn't just wait around, really. Like,
she does her best with what she has.
Yeah, she doesn't have high expectations, I've noticed, either, because she's like, oh, I guess I won't go to the ball, and I'm a little bit disappointed, but that's okay. But then the mice are like, hey, man, we made this for you, and now you can go to the ball. And it's like, oh my god. And
I mean, I think the reason why that scene is so great is because it just, you know, you live so ideally, and just to, like, have that magnitude of disappointment. But at the same time, it's like, she's so massively disappointed, but at the same time, her character, it's like, you know that she would pick herself back up.
Yeah, she'll just be like, oh, that was disappointing, but I think I'll be okay. I mean, it was only really devastating because she had this really nice dress, and she's like, oh, I'm so close to getting something nice, you know, in my life, and to go somewhere nice. And then it was, like, ripped away from her really violently. Which, actually, I talked about this when the mice were gathering the extra stuff that the stepsisters chalked away. That is kind of like, you think, oh, that's really nice. They're picking up things the stepsisters won't notice. But then they do notice, and they take it away from her. And so it ended up being, like, kind of the dress's undoing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, which I think is, like, really good narrative writing.
And it's foreshadowing, too, at the end when they're claiming that the slipper is theirs.
Yeah, it is, too, because, like, the stepsisters fight a lot and argue a lot. And as a result, like, it makes the people with the glass slipper be there longer, thus giving Cinderella the opportunity to come downstairs.
This movie is so well paced.
It is. It's, like, such a good movie.
It's well paced. There's so much good foreshadowing. They used a lot of foreshadowing in this one, and it's really good.
And, like, what a narrative leap from, like, say, the last feature film, which is Dumbo, or Bambi, actually. Bambi, to this. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, like...
This was definitely a plot and character-driven movie.
Yes, yeah, I think it's like, quite an improvement, I think. Give props to the people writing Disney, man. Good job. Oh, we've kind of gone this really long, which I kind of expected with the feature length, because there's way more to talk about than what the fuck was that?
Three Caballeros.
Oh my god, that's never gonna leave us, is it?
Nope.
Alright, so I guess the next one is Alice?
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, alright, I'm so excited. I love Alice in Wonderland. So I guess we'll go and see you guys then.